Hey everyone, Jim here from Village Local. Thanks for joining us. Look, we've all heard the benefits before of living an active and well lifestyle. But for many of us, particularly older Australians across the country, there are many challenges that get in the way of being able to live that life. For some, it's the chronic health conditions that we face that prevent us from staying mobile and active in the community. For others, it's the cost burden of getting involved in these sort of things. And sometimes there's even a knowledge gap as to what's available and how to access it as well. So to help answer some of these questions, I thought I'd bring in Grace Williams, who's the founder and director of Seniors Fitness in Bondi. And she's also an exercise physiologist. So thanks for joining us, Grace.
Thank you.
So why don't we get straight into it? First question I've got for you, Grace, is what is an exercise physiologist and what are some of the challenges that you're solving for those that come to see you?
Well, an exercise physiologist is an allied health professional, so similar to a physio or a dietitian or a speech pathologist, but their role is in the exercise sort of realm of things. They've sort of got an extensive understanding of the human body and use exercise to solve problems with the body. So we are similar to a physio in some respects, but differ in that we work more with chronic health conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, respiratory diseases, as well as those sort of injuries that we manage, like hips, knees, ankles. A lot of the clients that we see at the moment are often post-operative, so post-knee replacement, post-hip replacement, or coming in to prepare for operations or to try and fend off operations. So try and use exercise as a treatment before they, go down the path of having a knee replaced, having a hip replaced. We also see a lot of people with chronic health conditions. So we use exercise to manage that. So most chronic health conditions can be managed or treated with exercise. In the same way that we use medication. So we use exercise to change the biochemistry, I guess, of the body to manage these conditions.
I want to jump into those chronic diseases in a little while, but before we jump into that, what are some of those things that hold people back from coming to see you in the first place, or at least just having a chat?
I guess a lot of people that we see have never really been into exercise in their life and find that they don't want to. It's a harder option. If you think, for example, exercise can help manage depression, and there is people who would prefer to go down the medical route, and that's definitely worthwhile. It's always worthwhile doing that, but don't understand that exercise can have such an effect on something like depression, and would be sort of scared off, whereas there's always going to be an easier way. It's always going to be something a bit easier, but you might not get the results. And in terms of exercise, it's like having a medication with no side effects or good side effects, in fact. So that's one reason that people don't come in to see us, is because they're a bit scared of exercising. They've never exercised. It's very daunting. The other thing we've found is we've had people who've had bad experiences, often at gyms in the past, or they've seen a personal trainer, and there's nothing against personal trainers. They're not qualified to manage the conditions that these people are going in with. And often they've had a bad experience there, or they've, done something themselves, even without somebody there. And the other one I find that people are very hesitant to see us is, and we get it all the time, is I walk every day, so I'm fine. And walking is really important, and it's great when people walk every day, but there is many other elements of exercise that become much more important as you get older. So strength training is one that becomes really important as you get older, because resistance or heavy weights or strength training can help manage most age-related conditions. So the three big reasons why people don't come in.
You touched on a few key things then, and they all sort of, if I sort of distill it down, they're all coming down to the idea of the right program for the right person, okay, and their condition. So let's talk a little bit about that. What are your key considerations when you're sort of thinking about what would be most suitable for this person?
Well, we always start everybody off with an initial assessment package, which is 3 sessions. It's important that we do all 3 sessions. we start with an initial assessment where we can find out a bit about them. We get often a referral or a medical clearance filled out by their GP, which gives us an idea of their medical history. And in terms of exercise, different exercise is important for different conditions. So we use that interview with them, or like that assessment with them, as well as the information provided by their doctor, to then form a program. So we sort of sit down after we've seen them, formulate a program, and then take them through that. So at least every exercise has a reason. We're not just getting you to do something for the sake of it, or there is often exercise that will be detrimental to certain people or certain conditions. So it's important that we make sure that the exercises that we are prescribing for the client are the right ones for them. And that's why we sort of make sure we spend that first session with them just talking. We often do a few assessments, and that way we get an idea of sort of a baseline, and that way we can build from there. But our next 2 sessions is sort of very important as well, because we go through the program that we've designed for them and make sure that it is the right one, like that it is right for them. We can sort of adjust it as we go and teach them how to do that program correctly one-on-one.
Yeah, great. No, insightful. You talked a little bit there about that first session. What are some of the common questions that people are asking you during these first consultation sessions?
In that first consultation, I find often it's us asking the questions. So we'll ask a question, and that may lead someone to just sort of throw everything out there, or we'll have to sort of poke and prod. But we'll ask often, do you have any conditions that may affect your exercise? And that one I find really interesting, because often people will say, no, I don't think so. And then you look at their referral, their medical clearance from their GP, and you realize, oh yeah, actually there's a lot here that can be affected by exercise, and there's a lot here we can do to help you. So I find a lot of it is us asking questions to them about their history, and then educating them on how exercise can affect those conditions. So for instance, I had one lady that came in and said, oh, no, there's nothing that would affect my exercise. And when looking at the medication she took, she was taking medication for diabetes. So I started asking her about that, and she said, oh yeah, I'm diabetic. And when you start to explain to people that actually we can help manage your blood sugars with exercise, we can do this, that, they become a little bit more interested, and they realize why they're here, or if their doctor has referred them, why they've been referred. So as well as asking questions, or them asking us questions, it's usually more of an education session, that first one.
It sounds like the biggest barrier that I'm hearing here is just people's lack of awareness around the advantages or the benefits that can be had from exercise and exercise physiology, and a bespoke program to cater for somebody's needs. Is that that's what I'm hearing here?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about costs and how to overcome that as a barrier that many people face when accessing not just exercise physiology, but all kinds of allied health and health and wellness services in the first place. In your realm, the exercise physiology realm, tell me a little bit about the costs and how people are covering those costs.
Right. So our initial package, which is that initial 3 sessions, is the sort of the big expense to start with. It is $250 for the 3 sessions. However, if you speak to your GP, you may be eligible for a referral, which means that Medicare will subsidise some of the costs. Usually get about something around $164 back of that $250. And as I said, that's for the first 3 one-on-one sessions. So you can get quite a bit back from Medicare.
Many of our community at Village Local, they're people in their 70s, 80s and 90s. A lot of them are getting access to home care support services and government funding for support services, either through a home care package or the Commonwealth Home Support Program. Does your organisation and the work that you and your colleagues do in the industry also tap into that form of funding?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do take a lot of people come through on their home care package. So we sort that out with their service provider, and it's completely covered by their home care package. Obviously, private health does kick in as well. I forgot to mention that. And NDIS. So anybody on the NDIS, we can provide services through their NDIS plan if they've got coverage for it. Ongoing, we have a range of options at different costs. We have our private sessions, which is one-on-one with an exercise physiologist, but we also have our semi-private sessions where you're still getting that same private treatment, but there may be up to 3 others in your group. You're still doing your own program. You're still doing everything that's suitable for you. There just may be one exercise physiologist that's looking after you as well as others at the same time. That's quite popular because it is a cheaper way of having a private session. And then we do also have our membership, which is we write up a program for the client and they can come in and use that program and go through that program by themselves in the gym and use our facilities. And again, that's at a reduced cost as well. The only thing with that is we do have to make sure that each client is eligible to do that. We want to make sure that everybody's safe to be by themselves and make sure they're not, you know, a hazard to themselves or to others when they're in there. So that's sort of our cost. We do also provide some online classes. They're filling up quite quickly at the moment, but our group classes are online as well.
Yeah, fantastic. So you're kind of thinking about, all right, what are we going to help this person with right now? But then you're thinking about, well, from an ongoing standpoint, from a lifestyle change standpoint, there's a benefit of staying involved. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those lifestyle benefits beyond the chronic condition that you're solving or that acute condition that you're solving for right now? What are those other benefits that your clients are telling you about, how it's impacted their lives and continues to do so as they continue on with you?
Yeah, well, I've got one good example. I had one lady and I started seeing her at home. We also provide home visits. I see her at home.
Sorry, just to interrupt you, particularly useful for those that are challenged with getting out, either by mobility challenges or don't drive or have a lack of ability to get out in the community, right?
Yeah. No, so we do provide home visits as well. So I saw one lady at home just as she was coming back from a longer stint in hospital. And I was seeing her because she had a sore foot. She had it was a bit of neurological pain in her foot. And we started doing that, working on that, and it sort of subsided. It started to improve. And then we started working on just a bit of strength. And I find a lot of people, especially when they've come home a bit weaker, but everybody as they age, it's very important to work on falls prevention, preventing any falls. Falls is the #1 cause of death in the older population. So preventing falls is the easiest way to manage falls. This lady now, every time I go around, she's tells me things like she went out for lunch the other day and she found it really easy to get up off the toilet at the restaurant, whereas at home she has an over toilet aid. Out in the community she doesn't. She's it was very easy to get off the toilet. And things like, I could walk through the hospital to my doctor's appointment easily. Yeah. And that's really nice to hear because it does sort of put things into perspective for them of why they're doing it, not just to manage any chronic disease, injury, pain, but actually to manage their lifestyle.
Lifestyle, and it's the simple things of lifestyle, right? The day-to-day things that a lot of us take for granted, but for others, it can really cause a real burden.
Absolutely. We even have some younger clients, and I've got actually my oldest client. They went on a holiday recently, and it's things like when they go on holidays, they're able to keep up with their family, they're able to walk. Really simple things like that you don't realize are difficult until they are difficult.
Yeah, perfect. Grace, you've been a wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure that you've really enlightened the community and got people thinking about how to better their day-to-day and live that active and well lifestyle that I'm sure is a burning desire for many people. So thank you again for taking the time to speak to us in our community, and wish you and your clients all the very best.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.